Lorraine Cox was born in 1988 in the city of Exeter, England. Friends often described her as cheerful, fun-loving, and full of life, the kind of person who could instantly brighten up any room she walked into. After graduating high school, Lorraine followed her heart and pursued a degree in social work at the University of Exeter. She had always been passionate about helping others and was determined to make a meaningful impact in the world. After earning her degree, she dedicated herself to working with nonprofit organizations, focusing on projects aimed at helping the homeless. Her warmth, commitment, and drive left a lasting impression on the lives of countless people. In 2018, at the age of 30, Lorraine met Elise Fallow, who was 24 at the time. Their connection was instant, and their relationship blossomed quickly. By October 2019, the couple was engaged and dreaming about their future together in Scotland. But life, as it often does, had other plans. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit in early 2020, everything came to a standstill, including their dreams. The lockdown restrictions kept them away from their families and disrupted their plans to relocate. The physical and emotional toll on their relationship began to show. Eventually, Lorraine decided to move back to Exeter to live with her father, while Elise stayed with her own family. Fast forward to the night of August 31st, 2020, a night that would forever alter the course of events. With bars and restaurants in England reopening under limited capacity, Lorraine was eager to break free from the isolation of lockdown and unwind. She joined friends for a night out, seeking laughter and a sense of normalcy after those difficult months. Around 2:00 a.m., she left the bar to walk home. Her friends offered to accompany her, but Lorraine brushed off their concerns, insisting she'd be fine. The streets, however, were unnervingly quiet due to the lingering restrictions, making the walk home far from safe. When morning came, her father immediately noticed something was off. Lorraine hadn't returned home. At first, he thought she might have crashed at a friend's place and sent her a message. But as hours passed with no response, his concern deepened. By that afternoon, her friends and family had launched a frantic search, desperate for answers about her sudden disappearance. But then, something strange happened. A post appeared on Lorraine's Facebook account. The message claimed that she had moved to another town on September 1st and no longer wished to stay in contact with anyone from her past. Right away, her loved ones suspected something was wrong. The post didn't sound like Lorraine at all. It felt cold and out of character. Concern quickly turned into fear, as her fiancé and family began to realize something might be terribly, horribly wrong. Everyone knew Lorraine wasn't someone who acted on a whim. She was the kind of person who carefully mapped out every detail of her life. Sudden, reckless decisions? Not her style. That's what made her disappearance, completely out of nowhere, so shocking for everyone who knew her. Elise, one of Lorraine's closest friends, couldn't stop texting her, desperate for some kind of response. But the only reply she got was a single cryptic middle finger emoji. And that wasn't even the worst part. Things took a seriously dark turn when Lorraine's diabetes kit was found untouched in her room. As a type 1 diabetic, her insulin wasn't just important, it was life or death. Leaving home without it? Unthinkable. There was no note, no explanation, just eerie silence. It was like she had disappeared into thin air. On September 2nd, her family reported her missing, launching a full-scale police investigation. Officers flooded the streets of Exeter, putting up missing person posters, questioning anyone who might have seen her that night. Friends confirmed she'd planned to walk home after a night out at the bar. But when police combed through security footage from her usual route, they stumbled on something chilling. The footage showed Lorraine passing by a shop, but what caught their attention was the hooded man trailing just a few meters behind her. At first, he kept some distance, but step by step, he got closer. Lorraine noticed. She glanced over her shoulder, visibly uneasy, but she kept going. Soon, the man caught up to her, trying to strike up a conversation. For a second, he seemed to back off. But then he closed in again, this time walking almost beside her. One haunting moment in the footage showed Lorraine's backpack strap slipping from her shoulder, her coat shifting as if falling. The man appeared to gesture, maybe to calm her, but Lorraine's body language screamed discomfort. Moments after that, they disappeared into a dimly lit alley. That was the last time anyone saw Lorraine alive. What happened next is still a grim mystery. The footage showed no sign of Lorraine attempting to run or fight. Those haunting, blurry frames were the final trace of her that night. Then, on September 8th, just 1 week later, her family's worst nightmare came true. The search ended in tragedy when Lorraine's body was found behind a kebab shop, horrifyingly hidden among piles of trash. What investigators discovered left even hardened officers shaken to the core. Her remains were found in 6 separate garbage bags, a grotesquely calculated act that made it clear this wasn't random or impulsive. It was cold, deliberate, and horrifyingly sinister. But alongside Lorraine's remains were critical pieces of evidence, puzzle pieces that would begin to reveal the twisted truths of what happened on that fateful night. When investigators reviewed the restaurant's security footage, they noticed a man repeatedly entering and leaving the garbage area throughout the night. This man closely resembled the hooded figure seen earlier trailing Lorraine. The restaurant owner later identified him as Christopher Meyer, a man who had reportedly been staying in a room above the restaurant. But it didn't take long for authorities to uncover the truth. That name was fake. His real identity? Azam Mangori. Azam Mangori, born in 1998 in Duhok, Iraq, had fled to Europe at a young age seeking asylum. After illegally entering the UK, he settled in a room above a kebab shop in Exeter. Further police investigations uncovered that Azam lived a chaotic life, often wandering the streets late at night. He was arrested the same day investigators identified him, and during questioning, he tried to cover his tracks with a tangled web of lies. However, with each passing hour and mounting evidence, his story quickly unraveled. When officers searched his room, they discovered several of Lorraine's personal belongings, such as her backpack, phone, wallet, and credit cards. Examination of Azam's phone also revealed intimate messages exchanged with both men and women, confirming that he had been working as an escort in the area. Around this time, Lorraine's autopsy report was released. The results confirmed she died of asphyxiation. Her mouth had been forcibly stuffed with a t-shirt, causing her to suffocate. Despite the overwhelming evidence piling up against Azam, his defense team attempted to discredit the findings and denied all charges. However, his lawyer urged him to come clean, warning that continuing to lie would only make matters worse. Eventually, Azam broke down and shared his story in court. He detailed his life, starting with his escape from Iraq and leading up to the events of the night he was arrested. Azam recounted his upbringing in a strict conservative Islamic household, where he lived under the control of his mother and stepfather. He described his turbulent childhood, one where socializing was strictly forbidden and any form of disobedience wasn't tolerated. During his teenage years, Azam realized he was bisexual, a revelation he believed could cost him his life in his homeland. This fear ultimately drove him to flee Iraq. As for the night Lorraine disappeared, Azam claimed he had gone out simply because he was bored. He said he noticed Lorraine, felt a connection, and decided to approach her. According to him, he had no ill intentions. He just wanted to talk. He vaguely remembered discussing a one-night stand and insisted that Lorraine voluntarily accompanied him back to his room, where they spent the night together. Azam claimed that he and Lorraine had consumed alcohol, smoked, and used drugs together at his place before becoming intimate and falling asleep. However, he stated that when he woke up the next morning, Lorraine's body was cold, and he couldn't find a pulse. He insisted that he tried to resuscitate her, but it was too late. When questioned about why he didn't call an ambulance, Azam explained that as an undocumented immigrant in the UK, he was afraid no one would believe him. He also claimed he didn't know the emergency number and that his only understanding of CPR came from what he'd seen in movies. Panicked and overwhelmed, he admitted to hiding Lorraine's body in his room for several days, during which he turned to drugs to cope with his anxiety. Eventually, Azam confessed to a horrifying act, dismembering Lorraine's body. He sealed the remains in garbage bags and disposed of them behind the restaurant where he worked. To cover his tracks, he also used Lorraine's phone to send misleading text messages to her family and friends. But his story didn't hold up under scrutiny. Investigators uncovered chilling evidence in his internet search history, which included phrases like dismemberment techniques, how to dig a grave, and how to kill with a knife. The most disturbing part? These searches had been made before Lorraine's death. On top of that, the autopsy results contradicted Azam's account. No drugs were found in Lorraine's system, and the cause of death was determined to be suffocation. Prosecutors argued that Lorraine hadn't willingly gone to Azam's room. Security footage revealed her in a vulnerable state, being coerced and led away by him. As if the case couldn't get any darker, during the days Lorraine's body remained in his room, Azam posted casual videos of himself smoking on social media, acting as though nothing had happened. These actions painted a picture of someone cold and calculated, leaving the jury with little doubt about his guilt. After only 5 hours of deliberation, Azam Mangori was convicted of first-degree murder. He received a life sentence with the possibility of parole after serving at least 20 years. For Lorraine's family, while the pain will always linger, the verdict brought a measure of justice, a small but significant step toward healing.
Before we conclude this video, please be aware that the video on the left may be disturbing. It is recommended for adult viewing only. On the right, you'll find a playlist of videos that have been highly appreciated by our viewers.